Hello, you're listening to Season 2 of the Achieve With Me podcast. I am your host, Rachel Gilfrin, and I'll be spending the next few minutes chatting to you about what achieving, winning, and success mean to you. As a life coach specialising in confidence and career progression, I am a strong believer that success is very closely linked to having a positive mindset. I'll be sharing my own highs and lows from my past corporate career in IT sales and sharing some really valuable tips and techniques to help you to get ahead in your career. To help you to get these implemented today, you can catch the written episode on my blog, which is at www.rachelharrietcoaching.co.uk. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello and welcome back. This is episode 17 of Achieve With Me. As you know, we've just commenced season 2, so thank you for joining me again. Now, thank you so much for the comments and feedback that some of you have shared with me following the new launch. As ever, please do keep pinging over your ideas for topics to make sure that I can try and support you in the best way with relevant content. It's really important for me that this podcast resonates with you. So just pop me a message on Instagram with whatever career challenge you might be having right now, and I will do my best to address this in a specific episode. So today, I wanted to talk about happiness. Strange topic really, because I think that a lot of the time we just assume that happiness comes naturally to a lot of people. And I can, rather sadly I suppose, admit something to you now. This year, 2021, is the first year of my 31 years that I've really stopped and considered how happy I am. And that consideration is applied across all different areas of my life. Obviously my career and, my business, but also in my personal life, in where I'm living, in my health especially. So it's been something that I've really looked at across all different levels. Now, unfortunately, certainly here in the UK, there's a bit of a culture of measuring success in life based on the material items or on paper success. And there's a difference between being successful and being happy. Now, I did some really deep reflection work across different areas of my life, and when I stripped everything right back, I realised that at a basic level, I wasn't happy. I was going through life being okay. Not unhappy. Fine, if you will. Whenever we're asked how we are, though, we tend to consistently answer fine or okay without really considering it, and it can be quite a bad habit because we don't often convey how we're really feeling to people. And if we're just going through the motions like this, are we really cultivating true meaningful relationships with people, or are we simply showing them one tiny part of us? Now, realising that there is a part of you that's sort of been going through the motions is quite difficult to admit. The only way that I can really describe it for me was a bit like I was waking up to the potential feelings that I could have had if I'd made the effort to recognise them. So I thought, well, if I've recognised this, perhaps I can help some of my podcast listeners to really consider the same things. So to start off with today, I want you to imagine how you behave when you're really happy. Think about who you're with, where you are, the sounds that you can hear, the smells that you can smell, and whatever has happened to kind of bring you this peace and happiness in this moment. So think back to a time in the past when you've really been this happy. Then, I want you to imagine a 6-year-old child when they are really, really happy. Now, children exude joy in its purest form. Imagine them shrieking with glee as they play a particular game or Or their little celebrations at the tiniest things, such as finding out what they're having for tea or a game that they've played that they've won. Think of their unwavering confidence as they stride up to you and have absolutely no trouble telling you exactly what they want. Now, despite lacking in vocabulary somewhat, admit it. When children come and speak to you, there's no mistaking what these little fiends want. So 2 different scenarios there. I want you to compare the 2. Thinking about when you've been happy in the past, and then thinking about how a small child behaves when they're truly happy, and compare the 2. Now, personally, when I did this exercise, I found that the 2 were very different in enthusiasm, and I think that they were very different for me in terms of genuine emotion as well. So where does it fall down? We become conditioned to filter out emotions to a level of appropriateness at some point. When you reimagine being truly happy as a young child, and try to identify what things have contributed to this feeling. Now, this might feel like a really strange exercise, but it really helps us strip everything back and consider what is important to you. And from this, you can begin to discover what your core values are. When we think about how this applies to our careers, the problem is it often feels as though being free to feel the feelings of true joy isn't generally conducive to progressing at work. We tend to associate progression with more work with more stress, and more stress with a poor work-life balance. Doesn't really sound like joy, does it? The truth of it is, some work environments can be toxic despite your best intentions. Now, the key to maintaining career happiness, and not just that, but enjoying the journey, is being clear on what you can and cannot control, and approaching every situation and scenario with an open mind. So, in order to reflect and bring back some happiness to the everyday, I want you to create 2 different lists. Now, this is going to be specifically surrounding your career environment. So the first list you're going to make is going to be 1 list of tasks and responsibilities and scenarios, I suppose, that really drain you. You know, the things that you kind of avoid doing, things you don't really feel you're good at, and the things that feel quite daunting to you. And then write another list of tasks, responsibilities, scenarios that really light you up, that you feel good after you do, you feel like you've done well, and you feel like you're really making a difference in. Now go back through the list and mark with an asterisk the things that you are in control of. And you need to do this for both lists. And once you've identified the things that you are in control of, go back through the lists and mark the things that you are not in control of with a dot. So you've got the asterisk for things that you are in control of, and the dot for things that you are not in control of. Now you've got this information to hand, take a deep breath and decide to let go of the things you cannot control. It sounds really basic, but the amount of time during my career that I have just felt so worried and concerned, and so much pressure around certain elements of my role that I really wasn't in control of. So there was nothing that I could have done to impact them, yet I still, for some reason, invested energy in them. Make a decision now to invest more energy and more focus to the elements that you are in control of, and the ones that really light you up. Now, by the way, this obviously was an exercise for you to do to consider some of the tasks and responsibilities that are associated with your career. But this is also an exercise that you can do for all different areas of your life. By doing this, you're going in search of happiness in all different aspects of your life, and you're trying to leave behind the things that you're not in control of. So think about different areas, your home life, your relationship, and perhaps your health journey as well, because quite often, I know I've been guilty of this in the past. And again, guys, message me and tell me if I'm right or wrong because I find it interesting. But I've been guilty of focusing on one area of my life and then using that as an excuse as to why things aren't great in the other areas. So my health journey, for example, when I was out on the road in the car all the time, I'd be getting like takeaway food all the time. I'd barely be moving as much. And because I was in the car, I wouldn't be drinking as much water because I didn't always know when I was going to get the opportunity to go to the loo. So my health really suffered as a result of this. But I made an excuse that it was worth it because, my career was more important. Absolute nonsense. Really, it was just apathy on my side. I wasn't being organised enough and I was being lazy. So think about any areas of your life that might be suffering from a lack of happiness and joy around. And think about ways in which that you can call yourself out on your own excuses almost. It just takes some reminding as well. I have to say I am committed to my own journey of creating happiness every day. But that doesn't mean that I don't have to call myself out on stuff all the time. The point is, lasting change isn't created overnight, rather in the small steps that we take every day. And when you think about the things that you're in control of in your own career, we've got to start taking accountability for our own happiness, rather than just thinking about all these areas that we are performing in or underperforming in and wishing things were different. So I really hope that this was helpful. As ever, I wish you all your continued happiness, especially in your career journey. And I just want to remind you to stop thinking about the destination and be grateful for the day-to-day elements of the journey as well. So quite a short episode today. Can't wait to see you for the next episode. And please do leave me a rating and a review if any of this resonated with you and if you like what you heard. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to Season 2 of the Achieve With Me podcast. I'd absolutely love to hear from you if there's any other workplace challenges you're facing at the moment that you'd like me to consider doing an episode on. Please do follow me on Instagram, which is at Rachel Harriet Coaching. And remember, you can visit my website, www.rachelharrietcoaching.co.uk, to revisit some of these topics in my blog, or if you want to learn more about one-to-one coaching. Have a wonderful day.